When we hear the words, "curse God and die," it's easy to see Job's wife as the villain. But what if there's more to her story? What if, instead of rejecting God, her words were born from a place of deep grief and compassion? Today we explore Job's wife, not as a failure, but as a faithful, God-fearing woman, a partner, a mother, and a fighter, who was an essential part of God's double blessing in their life. From the very start, the book of Job introduces us to a faith-filled family. Job was a man of integrity, a righteous man who feared the Lord, and his wife stood by him. She wasn't just a passive observer, she was an active partner in building this godly foundation. Together, they raised their children in faith, teaching them to walk in the ways of the Lord. Job's success, his wealth, his happiness, they were all a reflection of the strength of their family, rooted deeply in God's love. A mother's influence in a family is unmatched. Job's wife wasn't just a partner in raising children. She was a faithful mother, teaching her children to walk in the ways of God. She didn't just talk about faith, she lived it. Through good times and bad, she showed them how to trust God in every season. Even when tragedy struck, she continued to model strength, compassion, and unwavering faith to her children, even if they didn't fully understand what was happening around them. She was the silent force behind their spiritual growth. What if, instead of seeing Job's wife as a failure, we see her as a faithful partner who stood by her husband through every trial? She wasn't just a witness to Job's suffering. She was his rock, the one person who stayed by his side, even when the world around them was falling apart. Despite her emotional moments of weakness, she didn't abandon him. She didn't turn her back on him. She stayed. She fought for him. But what happens when that peaceful foundation is ripped apart? Job's suffering wasn't just physical, it was spiritual and emotional. Job's wife watched the loss of their wealth, the death of their children, and the breakdown of her husband's body. She was a woman torn between her faith and the pain of love. In her grief, her words, "curse God and die," may have seemed like a betrayal. But were they really? In the original Hebrew, the word Job's wife uses is barak, a word that can mean both curse and bless. What if her words were less about rejecting God and more about asking Job to bless God one last time before ending his suffering? In this moment of deep emotional despair, could her words have been a desperate plea for relief rather than an act of rebellion? She didn't want to see her husband suffer any longer. She wanted peace for him. She was a woman in torment, trying to help the man she loved find peace. Here's where the story of Job's wife takes an unexpected turn. God saw a faithful partner, a woman who stood by her husband even in his darkest hour, and God restored her too, just as he restored Job. Together, they received a double blessing, a restored family and a restored faith. Job's wife wasn't just a bystander in Job's story of blessing. She was part of the redemptive narrative. God didn't leave her behind. He used her as a key figure in their ultimate restoration. Job's wife was not perfect, but she was strong, faithful, and steadfast. She was a God-fearing woman, a faithful wife, a loving mother, and a fighter. Her journey wasn't about never doubting. It was about returning to faith in the midst of unimaginable suffering. Together with Job, she received God's double blessing, not because she was flawless, but because her love and faith endured. Job's wife was a key part of God's plan of restoration. If you believe that faith and strength can be found in even the most unexpected places, like Job's wife, don't forget to like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear her story, and subscribe for more deep dives into the heroes of the Bible. Let's keep exploring faith together.